Good morning, good morning. It's a rainy Saturday, and today we're at a printing shop because we are taking a look at some of the most used pro camera apps in the world, namely Halide Mark II and Kino. So, Halide is a pro camera app or pro photo app, and Kino is a pro video app. Let's start with Kino first because that's the one I actually use as my daily video driver or daily high quality video driver. And so we're on the app now. If you're a camera nerd, you'll recognize a bunch of things straight away. If you're not a camera nerd, I'm gonna try to explain some of it. The app itself is very simple. I mean, it's a camera. How complex can it be? But in terms of UI, basically you have the audio reads at the top left, which is something you don't normally see in camera apps on mobiles, but you do see on, for example, external video recorders and audio recorders from pro cameras. So the way to look at this app is essentially all of the cool things that you see on pro cameras, they bring it to the phone. So you have the audio meter on top left, like I was saying. Let's try to tap it, see if something happens. Okay, we can choose where the sound on the phone comes from. So we can choose if it comes from the microphone at the bottom, the microphones at the front, how we want the microphones to work, and same thing for the back one. Again, pro things you cannot access on the standard camera app of your phone. We also have the auto indication. So this is for exposure. So for example, I'll point at myself here and let's do manual mode for exposure. You'll see the UI change completely, the screen shrinking down, and I get the slider here at the bottom that allows me to control my ISO, and that's going to dramatically change the exposure of the image. So it's becoming much brighter now and then much darker as I lower the ISO. Also, there's the shutter speed at the top, and switch between those. If you hit done, it applies and it reflects changes on the top left. I really love the typeface that they chose for this, for these like little indications. Let's go on auto again. So if you go on auto, changes back to green, changes to auto, and we're back. I'm gonna change to 2x here. Something you'll notice here also is the histogram on the top right. It's not actually tappable. I wish I could expand this histogram. I could interact with it a bit more. Maybe edit the image from the histogram like you do, for example, on DaVinci Resolve. That would be pretty cool. But it's not available. So let's keep going on the UI on the top. You have 41 minutes on the top right. If you're new to like pro camera apps and raw camera apps, you might think, what the heck is this 41 minutes? And this is the full capacity that my phone can record. So the file sizes coming from this thing are so big that if I record a 41-minute video, it's going to fill up my phone. And yes, this is a big setback if you actually want to use this as your daily camera. But if all you care about is quality, then this is what you want to see. And below that, we have the image settings. So we can record 4K 30 HDR, HEVC. I don't actually know if this said HEVC or HVEC. I've heard people say those. Then you have 4K 30 HDR or P3 color gamut. It looks much nicer in my opinion. And H.264. And then you also have customs and full HD and all that. So moving on to the UI at the bottom. Let's point at my shoe here. Moving on to the UI at the bottom, we have the autofocus on the left. If we tap that autofocus, this beautiful transition of the manual focus coming in. Take a look at how many elements this transition actually is. So first on the AF button, you have the text coming up, shrinking and blurring and reducing in opacity, and the MF doing the inverse from the bottom. Then you have the lens numbers 0.5, 1, 2, and 3 doing a similar motion to the bottom. They actually don't shrink, they just move down and are reduced in opacity. And you have the middle indication of your focus coming up and then the wheel scrolling from the left. So basically immediately the moment it comes in through the animation, it teaches you how to use it. You scroll it. And I don't know if there's focus peaking on this app actually. I know there's on Halide, but I'm not sure here. Anyway, so you can control the focus simply by moving left and right here. Then you have the very classic 0.5x, 1x, 2x, and 3x, basically depending on how many cameras your phone has. I'll say it is pretty slow to change between cameras. I think this is because they do it like optically, not digitally. I'm not entirely sure what it means, but I've heard that it's actually very hard to change between cameras properly instead of just doing it digitally. So I'm gonna give it a pass there, but I really wish that this was faster, because when you're just trying to record something fast, like these 2 seconds of load can mean that you've missed it. And then on the right, you have a little arrow that brings a menu from the right to the left. And you'll also notice the arrow flipping sides. So it rotates. Yep. And then you have these icons for little settings that you have on the camera. And I really love the design of these icons. I think they're very cute and functional. So let's tap white balance. White balance again. Similar transitions here. UI elements coming from the bottom. Scrollable elements coming in and scrolling. And you can select here, so auto white balance, manual white balance. And there's a very cool little touch here that I had actually never noticed, which is at the bottom, you have a small like gradient, a small blur that shows you what the camera sees as white. So for example, you'll see that here we have a very like yellow tinted. So for example, you'll see that here we have a yellow tinted blur at the bottom, and then if I swipe to the right, it's gonna get bluer and bluer, like exactly how white balance works. And then also you have the option, just like on any pro camera, to choose it to shadows, cloudy, basically tungsten, incandescent lights, things of that nature. These are basically presets. So you can do the same with the middle one, but if you just want a preset, you come in and you just tap it. So let's keep it like this. And then you can also lock the white balance. This is very important on a pro camera, because let's say you're filming something. Actually, you're filming this video and you're filming me and my face is slightly like yellow pink. But if I come out of the screen, the background is much wider. So if you don't lock the white balance, the color of your image will change. So this is pretty important. And you have a little toast at the top telling you what happened. And I really love the design of this button, actually. There's a few details with the gradient inside of it and the little border that changes in color. I wish the icon was animated with like a little rive, but that's just being extra. So let's unlock it, go back, try to dismiss the toast. Okay, and let's look at the middle of the screen now. These lines, they seem very easy to do. It's just like, okay, divide the screen in thirds and it works. But actually, if you've designed a camera app before, you'll know that it's something where the details matter a lot. And when you're actually putting these lines, like their width, how the center square is represented to give you orientation, it actually makes a big, like small things make a big difference here. And I really love the way they have the level in the middle. So they don't do a traditional just line level. They do this square thing where it adapts to the rotation of your phone and the changes in size, and then basically locks, and there's a little haptic. Oh no, wait, there's no haptic. I wish there was haptic. I was imagining it. So it locks and turns into yellow when you're perfectly leveled. Also when you're perfectly leveled in landscape mode. So let's tap here. This is the histogram. You see I have the histogram activated, this button. And then let's deactivate it for now. The center button, it disables stabilization. So if you see I'm shaking my phone now, everything shakes, like, and then if I activate it, it is much better. So this is just using the optical image stabilization on the device. Okay, then we have the grids. You can just toggle them on and off. There are no fancy options for different grids, which some pro users probably do want, because photographers and videographers are very picky about the kind of grids and compositions they use. Then you have a button just to turn on the camera. Turn around, I mean. Yo, here's me. Let's turn it back to the other side. And then you have your settings. So, whoop. Nothing fancy here, but very beautiful and very simple UIs. So let's go, for example, into grade. I'll touch on these. I'll touch on these now, actually. Okay, so at the bottom right here, you have what was the grade section where I was. So these are LUTs. You can think of LUTs as filters. Basically, these are filters for your image. And let's go into the menu again. Let's go to the menu again. Yeah. Okay, so right now, if we tap it, the LUTs are going to come from the bottom, and then you can select each filter. You can see the instant grade on the top right. It means it's going to be automatically applied, or you can apply it after recording. So let's say, for example, you want to record in black and white, but you actually want to preview without the black and white. You can do that. There's that flexibility. And I really love some of their predefined LUTs. I'm a big fan of the Wallace. Like it just makes things look so cool. So let's apply that. And then last but not least, you have at the bottom here, the record button. So let's hit record and see how the UI behaves. Let's turn back, hit record. And you can see the timer running at the bottom with very precise, like microseconds essentially. Then you have the line on the outside of the screen to tell you that it's recording. This is very classical in cameras. I wish it was a bit thicker here. You still see the audio levels at the top. You still see all your basically definitions, all your settings. You still see the 4K. You still see the auto focus, all of that, and you can stop at any time. It will take a little bit to process the image, and then it will take it to the gallery on the bottom left. Oh, this is a cool place to prompt for App Store review, because you've just taken a video. You might be happy with it. You explore the app for some time. Now rate us now that you took a video. So you have 5 stars, submit. Okay, I'll write a review later. So let's go into the gallery, see what it looks like. So we have here just a bunch of videos. For me, it's mostly screen recordings because that's what I do all day. Let's tap it. And something that is incredible is that so you can play the video regularly. It works like a normal gallery.
Very precise,
but
like
you have the LUTs or the filters here at the bottom. So I can actually go and apply a different filter from the one I recorded in. Let's say I was not actually happy with the Wallace for the type of recording that I wanted to do. I could go and set it to black and white or color or any of the other LUTs that they have available. So let's actually apply the black and white. I really like this black and white. They have this nice toast here. They're just exporting the video. Let's give it some time. And you can basically save it to anywhere else. So I won't save it for now. This is pretty much everything that there is to see on the Kino app. That's actually one more thing that I remembered is if you swipe down on the screen, you'll see the exposure meter at the top. So you see the little scrollable indicator, and you can scroll anywhere on the screen to change the exposure, or you can also lock the exposure on the top right. This is important for the same reasons that locking the white balance is important. But this is not a videography class. I think this is it for what we want to see out of Kino. Beautiful pro camera app that is exceptionally easy to use, which for me is very important because I want to use it on the go. So let's go into Halide. So Halide, as I said in the introduction, is an app that I'm not actually a recurring user of. One of the reasons that there's a subscription behind it, and I don't use my camera for photos enough to actually use a subscription. But one of the main selling points is that you can do different types of processing on your images. So you can record Apple Pro RAW or Process Zero, which I believe might be wrong, to be their own proprietary type of processing on the images. And they really look fantastic. Like the images out of this take up so much space, but look so good that it's incredible. And you have all the flexibility of jumping into a Lightroom or Snapseed or whatever tool you use to edit photos and just make whatever you want out of the photos. If you're interested in seeing some photos taken by the founder, he takes a lot of good photos on iPhone with their own camera. You should go to Sebastian de Witt's Twitter, and he has a bunch of cool stuff there. I'm not sure if I pronounced your name wrong. I'm so sorry. But let's jump into why. So again, we have the histogram here at the bottom. You can see, for example, if I point at the light, it's going to become a little bit brighter. If I point at this blue, basically you see the difference on the histogram. Just it's very reactive, which is something that I appreciate. And then at the top you have the options for raw processing, so you can change the type of image you want to capture out of this camera. And then on the right you have your settings. So for example, now everything is in auto, and you can see on the histogram where the 0 is. But if I change to manual, you'll see that on top I have an ISO horizontal slider. So let's change manual. So I can change the ISO here very easily. And vertically, I can change the shutter speed. So this is how fast or slow the camera actually captures the image. And you also notice the zebras, which is something that I really love. And if you're a serious photographer, you probably use it. If you're a serious videographer, for sure, which basically tells you what parts of the image are underexposed or overexposed, or where basically the exposure stands. Oh, it seems to be a bit slower now, probably processing something, but I really love the zebras, so let's keep them on for now. And I'll just tap here on the top right to get rid of the menus. And let's introduce some grids. You'll notice they have the same grids as Kino, but in here they okay, so I was confusing. Here they do have the little haptic when it locks in, which I really appreciate. I wish Kino had the same thing. You also see here a little draggable area. I'm gonna be honest, I am not the biggest fan of this menu here. I think it looks a bit wonky with the icons coming out of it, but the black part not really coming up. But I understand that they don't want to cover the image. So you have your flash options here. You have your file options here, which is the same that you have on the top. You have timer options. You can set like a 3-second timer. Let's see what it looks like. 3-second timer. It's on the shutter. Okay, so it does the timer on the shutter very subtly. You have white balance, just like on Kino, and you have your settings. And this is basically where you can see that it's really a family of apps. Like they look the same in many aspects. So something else that you have here is on the bottom left, you have the autofocus button, but it opens a lot more than just autofocus. So if I tap it, autofocus, now I can change the focus here at the bottom, and you'll see that it just enlarges this thing here in the middle to let me know what is actually in focus, which is pretty cool. It's similar to the boring camera that we saw 1 or 2 days ago. And we have the macro option on the left. So macro just allows you to get really close to things and actually get them in focus. Okay. So if you deselect the macro camera, then on top of macro, we have an icon that I don't actually know what it does. Let's tap it. Oh, so it activates the focus peaking. Okay. So now you'll see on the screen some green dots. These are the parts of the image that are in focus. So basically, as I scrub through here, you'll notice that now nothing is in focus, nothing is in green. And as I go on this side, things become in focus. There's green dots everywhere on the image. Again, very important if you're an actual pro photographer. Then you have the portrait mode here. This is similar to your basically iPhone portrait mode, I believe, which essentially takes the depth data of the image to simulate a bokeh on the background. So let's try taking a photo like this. It takes a little while to process. And then if we open it, you'll notice that the background is very much out of focus while the screen is in focus. So this is very good. Okay, let's remove portrait mode, click on the plus, see what that does. So plus is the focus loop. Okay, so it just really helps you focus. Basically you turn focus peaking on. Oh, you cannot turn focus peaking on and the focus loop at the same time. I thought you'd be able to turn on both. That would make sense. Okay, let's go back into autofocus. And then here on the right, what you have is the portrait mode. The same thing that we already saw. Let's take a photo of the mic. Again, it takes some time to process, but if we go into it, you'll see just this beautiful depth data, making the best out of the image. Okay, then here at the bottom right, you have 1, 2, 3x, 0.5, and here you'll notice it is significantly faster to just switch the cameras compared to Kino. And if we go into the gallery, because the gallery of Halide is very interesting, you have all of the data you could ever need. So you have location, you have the file, you have the depth information, shutter speed, ISO, lens, file size. You have all of the things you could ever want. And I'm noticing now that you have a little AR indication on the top right. I'm not sure what that does. Okay, interesting. Wait, what is happening? Tap to place. Oh my god, I had no idea that Ali did this. This is so cool. So because we took the photo with the depth information, it actually captured it, and essentially you can see it in AR. Okay, this alone might turn me into a user, not gonna lie. How do I exit? Oh, there's a done on the top left. Okay, let's click done. Okay, this is so cool. Let's see another one. Let's see this one in AR. Move your screen. Can I move it around? No, I cannot move it around. So tap to place. I'll place the computer on top of the computer, and you'll notice. Oh my god, this is so nice. Okay, I'm an AR nerd, so this is how you get me. Okay, let's tap done, top left, and continue exploring the gallery. Here, there's also an indication for mate. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Okay, so here you basically see so this is how you see the depth information, and this is how you see the person information. So it detects that there's someone there. Okay, interesting. Now let's see the full camera. Before the video, I took some random pictures just to test. So let's take a look at some of these. Here you can see the HEIC or the DNG. The DNG is 13 megs and the HEIC is 5 megs. So basically you're taking a picture, you're using 20 megs out of your phone. And the quality here is just exceptional. Like, this is an iPhone and you're getting pro level quality out of it for sure. Like, no questions. Okay, and looking again at the gallery, see some of these things. Let's tap, for example, here. And let's see, what can I edit from here? I don't think I can edit much. Let's tap here, the love, and then plus minus. Oh, we can edit the exposure after the fact. Interesting. Okay, let's try increasing the overexposing this one. Just because why not? Okay. And basically here, you have a very performant gallery. Just this is me shopping for a red camera, as one does. Okay, but I think we've seen everything out of the Halide camera. Let's take one more picture here to see how it behaves. Again, slower than your average camera, but also much more powerful, and it gives you all the versatility that you want. So I think this wraps it up for today. We have taken a look at 2 exceptionally well-built camera apps. Again, I'm a big fan of Kino. If I'm recording something on my phone that I actually care about, I use Kino. Even though for this show, I use the webcam of the computer. And then Halide, another exceptional and one of the most used professional camera apps in the world. Both very good. This has been episode number 9 of the App Breakdown, and I'll see you on episode number 10.